Hey everybody, welcome back to Pardon One Live. I'm your host, David Lilly. It is Sunday night, as usual, slightly behind, but that's fine. You guys are cool with that. You guys are okay with that. We're hanging out. We're gonna have a good episode tonight. We're gonna be talking about a lot of things, but mostly what I want to chit chat with you guys about is about joy. We're gonna talk a lot about joy, whether it's a political thing or a cultural thing, or does it seem to want to pick sides, or people on certain sides seem to find joy. That's going to be the big thing we're going to be talking about, and I'll explain the title in a little bit. But before we get started, you guys know the drill. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Yeah, jabronis. You know the thing. Go and hit that like and subscribe on whatever you're watching this on. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch, or these are all, let me list off the things I'm streaming on: Twitch, YouTube, X, Kick, and TikTok. The TikTok one is a little curious to me. That one I don't know much about at all. And I'm not even sure how to work TikTok. So I think I can go and take a look. But if you're on TikTok, you're like, hey, I'd rather watch this there. You go to TikTok, like and subscribe there, whatever that thing is. Still not sure why I'm there, but I'm hoping to reach the youths with some positive messaging, and course correct on wherever they're heading down now, because TikTok is terrible. Either way, streaming there. Oh, and if you're ever like, I missed an episode, on Tuesdays, this exact thing comes out on Apple and Spotify and all your podcast platforms. And guys, you can watch this too. It's not just for listening. You can actually watch the episode on Spotify. So go and like and subscribe on Spotify too. And the only reason I'm saying this is because it makes me feel better. It's just an ego boost. I like to see when I get subscribers. And to be honest, here's the thing about subscribers and having a small channel like mine. Every subscriber counts. So every time that little thing goes up, it's not like I'm like, hey, I did an episode tonight, got 40,000 subscribers. No, I see like I got one subscriber. It makes my day. So go on, like and subscribe on whatever you're watching, listening, whatever you're doing. Guys, it's a Sunday night. You guys know I like to have fun. We like to chit chat. We like to talk about jokes, and we're definitely going to have a fun time tonight. But it might get a little serious. Again, we're talking about joy, so I don't want to get too down in the dumps. I don't want to black pill you guys. I don't want to start your week off on a bad note. And so, of course, we're going to end this episode on a positive note, but we are going to get into some nitty gritty. A few topics I wanted to talk about. And before I go any further, I got a lot of projects going on, and a lot of things going on in the background. But one of the main ones I've been working on, just quick little ad read, is this D&D game called Flintlock and Fog. Let me show it to you real quick. Here's the website. If you go to flintlockandfog.com, this is the website, and it'll tell you all about it. I got a little video that kind of gives it a rundown, but I'm gonna do a quick little rundown for you. Let me go back here. So a few years ago, I created a D&D style game. And when I say D&D, I don't mean like the video game. I mean like old school tabletop, the one you see in Stranger Things, that kind of thing. Only because I was like, this could be a little updated. Not everybody wants to sit and fight dungeons and fight dragons and orcs and stuff like that all the time. And I was like, what if we had actual guns? I think that would be fun. And so I picked an era. My favorite era is Victorian era, because there's a lot you can do with that. Plus, you can travel all the world. So I basically created a game similar to D&D and all those RPG tabletop games, and I've started working on it. Player's manual is going to be coming out in most likely in a week, and then moving from there on. But if you go to the website right here, you can click this button right here and become a beta tester, and I'll end up uploading all the materials that you would need to test this out on your own. But the other thing I'm doing as well, the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm beta testing this and most likely live streaming it on this particular channel with friends and people who are interested in playing the game. That's real basic. You don't have to have played D&D before. You can just be a fan of mine and be like, hey, this seems like it might be fun. If you go there, click the join the beta test, become a beta tester. Maybe I'll have you hop on the channel, sit down. You can go to YouTube and see all the ones I've done before, kind of get a feel for it. But it is a good time. It's not serious. We're just joking around and we're just role playing through the Victorian era with guns. Which just sounds like a blast to me. And so I assume it would sound like a blast to you. So you can go to flintlockandfog.com, sign up, or just sign up for the newsletter. And all that. And if you're tired of me talking about it, buckle up because I'm going to be talking about it for a hot minute. All right, guys. So before we get started, I want to bring up this one thing. This has nothing to really do with our topic tonight, but I did want to bring this up just because it seems every week, you guys know I have a thing. Like when we talk about this all the time, everybody's got their thing. Who controls the world? Who is behind the veil, pulling all the strings, doing all the evil deeds, controlling everything? And everybody has their suspicions on who that might be. Alex Jones has the globalist. Tucker Carlson, he's got an idea who that might be. Those kind of Nick Fuentes, those kind of people, they got some ideas. I have a very specific idea of who I think it is. And who I think it is theater kids. Now, I know what you're thinking. Like, David, not all theater kids run the world. True, but I almost guarantee you everybody in the deep state is a theater kid. So maybe not all theater kids are evil, but all the evil people seem to be theater kids. And so just to prove my point, here's another little insider baseball. And this is, once you start noticing like all the strings and you really dive into the rabbit holes and you start pulling out all the topics and like who's funded who and who's doing what and what's going on. And sometimes they'll slip up in interviews and they'll just kind of say the quiet part out loud. Well, we got another one of those this week. And I'm tired. Once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. Here's one that I wanted to share with you guys right here. This is a Business Insider headline. Justice Amy Coney Barrett arranged for someone to sing songs from Hamilton at Ketanji Brown Jackson's welcome party. Guys, I don't know if you know what Hamilton is. It's a Broadway play. They took a historical thing and ruined it by adding music and dance. That's just what Hamilton is. And this is just a name. Once you start noticing everybody in the deep state, the corporate machine, the big money, the big banks, the big cabals, they're all theater kids. Every single one of them. Again, let me repeat, not all theater kids are a part of that. I have some friends who are theater kids. They're not in the deep state that I know of. But it does seem like everybody who's controlling everything seems to be a theater kid. And again, like I said, once you start noticing, stuff like this pops up and you're like, oh, there it is again. Friggin' theater kids, guys. Theater kids all around. Anyway, so let me explain the title. I said they didn't stand a Vance. So one of the big things I thought, all right, we're just going to lay this out right off the beginning. I've been doing this podcast for not that long. I mean, the podcast app, but this live stream thing, I've been doing it that long. And I started last year and it was basically just covering like all the election stuff because it was always in the news. And every once in a while I'd touch on cultural issues. And here lately, I've been really thinking about this live stream because it's a good time. Really, this whole point was I wanted to stay positive, start everybody's week who watches this, start off on a positive note and have fun. And then kind of just point out a few things, a few truths that I recognize in reality. And because the understatement is I just didn't want people who were sane and normal and touching grass and adhered to the ground of reality. I didn't want them to be constantly bombarded with lies like your Joe Scarborough's, because during this time Joe Scarborough was coming out and being like, yeah, Biden's tip-top shape, and we all knew he wasn't. And I was worried that normal people were constantly bombarded by all the lies and all the just upfront, hey, this thing's happening or it's not happening, but it is happening, but it's good that it's happening. That thing. I just want to make sure everybody had their head on a swivel and feel insane. But now that we're all the way in, a year in, and now we're in the Trump administration, the presidency, covering political topics like I've been doing and kind of bringing some cultural stuff in. I'm not going to say it's kind of it ran its course. That's not the thing. We're having a little behind the scenes how the sausage is made. Just some of my thoughts here lately. It's not that it's ran its course, but the thing is, I wasn't super political up until 2020. And even now, I'm not really super political. But it kind of feels like I'm constantly kicking a dead horse. And not that it's bad, like, I think I'm not saying I'm done, I'm quit. I'm just, one of the things that I thought is maybe we start talking about a little bit more serious topics, maybe some topics I'm a little bit more familiar with, but also have fun with it because the whole point of Sunday night is really to have fun. I don't wanna be serious. The other thing is, guys, I'm a dime a dozen. I know people aren't supposed to say this, but there's plenty of shows. There's plenty of lives right now you could probably be watching. Plenty of people on TikTok and Twitch and YouTube and streaming, all these big names who have great shows that I enjoy, I watch all the time. And I don't want to just regurgitate what they did during the week, compile it all in and give you my opinion, which might not be that different from other people you've heard during the week, and just kind of do that on Sunday nights with a few jokes in between. I think the only thing keeping the Pardon alive unique is just the lighthearted funniness of it. And I'm the only one who said it's funny. So I don't even know. I don't know if anybody else thinks it's funny, but again, I don't care. I don't care if you're like this isn't funny at all. I come here for strict news. I don't know what to tell you. I think I'm funny. Anyway, so my thought was, what do we do? What do we do going forward? Am I going to continue to just bring up here's a news thing that happened, and here's the thing, and here's my take on it? Which, yeah, it might. It's easy. It doesn't require a lot of work. And every once in a while, I have a different take, like my theater kids ruling the world thing. It might be important for someone to hear out there. But truthfully, is the truth. The true thing is, I don't. Here's the God's honest truth. I kind of think politics is dumb. Um, I kind of think it's dumb. And that's one of the reasons why I was never really big into politics in the beginning. It wasn't, and I was like, politics is dumb. And I was really into like thinking it was a uniparty, which it was all growing up. I wasn't even sure if your vote really mattered. And it wasn't until 2020 that that started to shift. That's when I started getting into politics. And I definitely think your vote matters now. And I definitely think the fight needs to happen and continue because I think more people need to just say the right thing out loud all the time. Even when you're confronted with like, is this might offend somebody? Is this going to be a little insensitive? I think at the point of playing a neutral ground and hanging out on the fence to maybe sell your product, become a nuanced individual where you don't really take a side and in the culture war or in the political realm you kind of just play that middle line and hopefully you can coast your way. I just don't think that. I just think that that time is dead. And so I still am going to do this. I'm still going to. I'm not calling it quits on this by any means. Anyway, I might be doubling this up. Um, but what I was just wanting to point out is I don't know if I can continue to do this same shtick. I'm afraid you guys are going to get tired of it. If I'm kind of getting tired of watching blue-haired liberals make asses of themselves and we just laugh at them, if I'm starting to be like, God, this is just it's the same thing every week. I figured you might be doing the same thing. So I might. The only thing we're going to continue. Oh, don't get me wrong, guys. We're definitely going to continue to play funny libs of TikTok videos, stuff like that that I find on the internet. But I'm probably going to only hone it in on the things that I think are really important. Like tonight, we're really going to hone in on this concept of joy and what it means to be joyfulness. And I know you heard the word joy over and over and over again from the Kamala campaign this past year. But we're actually going to really talk about that and what the signs of those things are, because I think we're at a point where it's almost distinctly one particular political or cultural side that seems to really have that concept of joy, while one doesn't, and that seems really strange to me. So a little philosophy, maybe a little theology. We're going to get into that tonight and talk about it. But um, starting off, I'm going to tell you a little bit of story, and we're going to read this article that just recently came out. I'm going to give you my synopsis of it because I haven't really vetted this article, so I don't know if it's going to cover it quite well. But basically, um, I'm going to give you the long short of it. There's been a running joke that the left can't meme, and why that's always stuck out to me is because I'm an artist. Memes are themselves art. They communicate a message in a satirical way or a funny way or just using a cartoon frog. These things, that's an art. It really is an art. And I always thought that was important, but I always wondered why one particular side couldn't meme. And I initially just assigned it to the fact that I don't think the left side has a very good sense of humor. Or if they did have a sense of humor, they found themselves on the opposite side. Because chances are, if you have a sense of humor, you're more inclined to make jokes. And jokes often tend to be, sometimes, if they're funny, tend to be offensive. Bing, bang, boom, get kicked over to the Nazi party. It's just what normally happens. So the left can't really meme because they have no sense of humor, is what I initially thought. But I might actually be wrong about this. Not wrong about that particular, but it might be more in depth. So, starting with this election year, the left, and we're going to talk about a few of the different memes that they tried before that, but the one that I really want to focus on tonight is the JD Vance meme. So, going into this, the left did their best to really try to, the same way they do with Trump, where they make his head big, or they Photoshop him, make him look goofy. They did the same thing with JD Vance. I'm going to give you one example right here. This one was a big one, and now I don't know when this started, and even the article I'm going to read doesn't has some definitive dates, but I don't know when this really caught on. But this is, I think, where it started. So these are, I guess, obviously pictures of JD Vance photoshopped and made to look goofy. He's got a baby face was the thing, and they just kind of expanded on that, made him look chubby, made him bald, made him look creepy and crazy. This is kind of how it started. So I just want to give you that preference. But over the past, and I would say over the past month, but specifically this week, online on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, has really just snowballed into a giant thing. And we're going to talk about that thing in depth, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite ones towards the end. But first, I want to read this article to you because it's actually somewhat fascinating. And this, again, keep in mind tonight we're going to talk about like uh, kind of the overall peripheral mentality of one particular side versus another particular side. And I'm holding off on saying Democrat and Republican because I don't think you can't say all Republicans have a sense of humor. That would be a complete lie. There's a ton of Republicans, normally the stiff old ones, that don't have a sense of humor. But it does seem like the majority of, go and say MAGA, has a decent sense of humor. We're about to find that out. So check out this article. I'm going to pull this up. And again, there's like ads all over it because it's the Atlantic. And I'm going to read this. I'm going to skim right through this thing really quick. I kind of want to read it all because I didn't really go into vetting this thing, so I didn't just pull out things. So here's an article by the Atlantic. It said, "Wait, who is posting these unflattering JD Vance memes?" This is the article. JD Vance doesn't look like himself in recent days. Memes have spread across the social media in which the vice president's face has been photoshopped to give him cartoonish chubby cheeks. He looks like a, oh, let me make sure. Yep. So you guys can see that. Okay. He looks like where was I? He looks like a bearded baby or Humpty Dumpty. Sometimes he's holding a lollipop and wearing a child's baseball cap with a propeller affixed to the top. One meme takes his edited baby face and adds luscious curly locks. Another one changes his skin tone to a gentle purple hue, making him look like a Willy Wonka-inspired human blueberry. In every image, Vance has been reanimated into an utter doofus. These memes have first appeared in October when a user posted an image of Vance captioned, "For every 100 likes, I'll turn JD Vance into a progressively apple-cheeked baby." But the babyface Vance has gone fully viral since last week. Okay, so I was right. This was it did seem to pick up last week when the vice president clashed with Ukraine's president Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office. Many of the photos and most of the popular have been received tens of thousands of likes on the platforms such as X and Instagram, including captions that imagine Vance talking like a small child who cannot yet properly pronounce his words. "You have to say please and thank you, Mr. Zelensky." Guys, I even did the baby voice. Like, you can't really read that without doing it, but that was a special treat for everybody watching. They continue. "Of course, people love making memes and portray the political adversaries as hapless and incompetent. That's not exactly what's happening in these images of Vance. The memes are going viral on the left wing internet." True. I'm pausing for a minute. And that's a part of the article. That's the crazy thing that we're about to get into. This whole thing, this thing right here, this was left wing. This was the left wing trying to take something like a Vance or a Trump and trying like, here's a meme. The left can meme. Look at the left meme. See, they can meme. Look how funny they are. They are absolutely funny. And this is going to piss off the maggots. The maggots are going to get so mad. We're making fun of their vice president. Lo and behold, it didn't work, curiously enough. So let's read. And guys, I know you're thinking like the Atlantic, is that a right lane? No, no. And if you even look into who wrote this article, they're not MAGA. I don't know what they are. Guys, they don't know who they are because they don't know what a woman is. That should just give you a little insight on the person who wrote this, but they're definitely not right wing. So let's continue on. Where were we? The memes have gone viral on the left wing internet, but they are equally, if not more popular on the right. Explicitly pro Trump accounts on X that otherwise spend their time bashing liberals or are posting embarrassing memes of the party's second in command. No, the right doesn't appear to be posting unflattering memes of Vance because it has turned on him. As I wrote, when Vance joined the Republican ticket, he uniquely appeals to various factions across the party. The online right, in particular, has long appreciated Vance's recognition of it. He follows some of the most prominent accounts on X, such as Bronze Age Pervert. I didn't even know that was an account. I'll have to go give him a follow. So here's the $1 million question. So and this is what they wrote. So why is the right wing why is the right willing to make fun of one of their owns? Oh my gosh, I'm really screwing. I'm Biden in all over the beginning of this episode. So why is the right willing to make fun of one of its own with memes? One user on X who goes by the name Alfred the Great and frequently shares right-wing memes has been posting and reposting the unflattering viral images of the president. They're just funny, he told me when I asked him about them. For what it's worth, Vance seems to agree, or at least he says he does. On Thursday, he told a reporter from the Blaze that he thinks the memes are funny. Others on the right swear that by posting images of Vance as a man baby, they're actually helping him. The right, and this is a quotation, the right is having so much fun roasting Vance's baby fat that it's just completely neutered the left's capacity to make fun of him, one right-wing account, Martin Ford wrote. In a post that garnered about 22,000 likes on X. This is what I want to talk about. This is what I'm talking about. The left sought out to turn Vance into a laughing stock and really irritate the right, and the right picked it up and then went above and beyond. Went above and beyond with it, guys. And I'm going to show you. I collected my favorite. I collected my absolute. Matter of fact, let's go. Let's finish this part out real quick. I want to finish this article, and then we're going to go through my favorite ones that I found, and we're going to explore this more. Let's just finish this up real quick. He will have been so. Oh wait, no. Let me go back. One of the right wing account, blah blah, wrote in a post that garnered 22,000 likes on X. This feels like a precursor to Vance's inevitable presidency. Aaron McIntyre, a prominent MAGA influencer, posted, "He will have been so thoroughly memed that he becomes immune to the effect before entering office." You guys couldn't see that. Whatever. It was my face all the time. Again, doesn't matter. That's wild to me. And this is where I got the title for the episode. They didn't stand Vance. Guys, they didn't stand a chance. They didn't. You can't. They've lost the meme war. The meme war is over. There is nothing they can do anymore. There's nothing the left side of the political spectrum or the cultural side. They can't do anything because even their best attempts to try to meme something fails completely on its face. Let me show you. So this is where we start out. This is where the left started with. And then the right just took it and kept making them worse. This actually might be right-winger pictures. I don't even know if that was left, but that's kind of where we've gone to. Those are people on the right wing who like Vance, myself included, made stuff like this. Why? Why would they do that and humiliate the vice president? Because they're funny. Because the right wing prioritizes funny and comedy and lighthearted joyfulness above what? Political messaging? A political demur? Like, is that what they're saying? Like, we got to stand guard. Everyone thinks like right wingers are like Spartan Nazis, Confederate people standing in front. We got to protect the president, and we got to play all their cards right. We can't let or they're just having a good time. They've unlocked a new political spectrum or tact, which I don't think it could have been unlocked by any campaign whatsoever. I think it was naturally occurring. I think all of the funny people got kicked out of one side, pushed to the other side, and that joy and laughter and lightheartedness just kind of bled into an entire political party. And even the ones who weren't having a good time, that were on the right, like we say it's Liz Cheney and Mitch McConnell's, they were all coming out for Kamala and saying that she's joyful. Well, all the people who were having a good time were on one side. That's my point. Like this joyfulness thing that Kamala kept talking about, it, not only was it a projection that she was trying to project on her own campaign that was falsely done, it was actually being acted out in the other party who never even mentioned joy, who never even used it as a campaign thing. They just had it. They just had it. And we're going to continue on. So here's my favorite. Speaking of joy, here's my favorite ones that I've collected. Now, I had a ton, so I had to pick out the ones that I thought were at least more relevant, or at least as clever, or at least ones that I thought that were timely. So here's the first one. This one's friggin' great. Now, this might be a reference people might not get. The Bagger Vance. Great movie, came out in the 2000s or late 90s or whatever. And all the faces are JD Vance. Great. Starring JD Vance, JD Vance, JD Vance. But the best part about this, this is why it's true art, is because it's a movie. I think it's Kevin Costner. He's a golfer. And Will Smith is his caddy. And he's Vance. I think it was his name. But they put Trump down here golfing. Look at that. And again, it's unflattering Trump. Like it's fun. It's just a good time. The right's like, Trump likes to golf. It's a funny thing. They threw him in there. People are having, and then the word says huge, a masterpiece. Hilarious. This is a work of art. Here's another one. Another one of my favorites. The King of Memes, starring JD Vance. Again, because this is a common meme. They've just been photoshopping his face all over him. I thought that was a great one. Here's another classic that I'll never get enough of. It's old Bernie Sanders, except for the Photoshop is JD Vance. I said, I'm once again asking for more JD Vance memes. Clever and funny. Now, here is the top notch. Although that Bagger Vance one was pretty good. Here's a top notch one right here. Check this out. Vance Hayland. Vance the Night Away. What do you guys, if this started off as a leftist campaign to pull one over on the MAGA side, look at us make fun of your VP, who would have thought it would have evolved into good art? I didn't. And the thing about this, and in the article, let me get rid of that. In the article, they start listing out in the past when the left tried to meme their own into a positive way. When they brought up Dark Brandon, I don't know who brought. I think it started with Joe Biden in front of the dark backlit with the red lights shining up, looked like an admiral in the Empire of Star Wars. People were like, oh, he's like dark coming out, and then the left was like Dark Brandon. Let's make that a thing. That didn't even catch on. Like, it was like, yeah, I even made an episode where I made fun of the Dark Brandon thing because it didn't catch on. And I'll tell you why that didn't catch on in just a second. But they also tried to do it with the coconut thing, fell out of coconut tree. People started saying that if they're on the left and they're voting for Kamala, they were coconut pilled. Which that one seemed kind of odd. Seems like a bit of a stretch to kind of pull. Does it work? Maybe. Yeah, you're coconut pilled. So they're kind of making fun of their own, but trying to play it off as something funny. But that didn't work either. And I'll tell you why. The reason why the Dark Branded one didn't work is because Joe Biden would immediately come out and stumble over stairs and his words and podiums and then walk off. So even the theme, like he's Dark Branded, was that the joke? The joke was he's evil, and so it never really stuck because the persona didn't work. Same with the Kamala thing. Is she made a funny, thing about, her mom telling her, did you fall out of a coconut tree? And they're like, oh, this will definitely catch fire. It'll make everybody laugh, make all the left people on the left wing laugh because the Republicans and the right wingers keep talking about this coconut tree thing being racist. And it didn't catch on either because she kept saying nonsensical things left and right. She was terrible messaging. And JD Vance, here's the other thing. It could have caught on. The Dark Brandon thing could have caught on. And so did the coconut pill thing. That's not that bad. It can't be used as clever. But there's no substance in the audience that appreciates those to make it push it forward. There was no masses to take those Dark Brandon things and create something that would have been funny or appealing or a meme in its messaging and push that into the zeitgeist because the left can't meme. They got nothing. All they can do is try to mimic what the right does and put it out there and go, well, the right did it and it caught fire. Why aren't ours catching fire? And I think the reason why it's because it's not relatable because there's no substance behind that, and there's no one creating taking the gold that the left does and turns it into something worth sharing. There's no good memes. All the memes that are making fun of Trump, they come out, they're not funny. There's if you follow any artists like Stone Toss or George Alexopoulos, these comics that are online, they post their comics and they're basically memes. They're constantly saying, like, let's check it on left wing comics. And it's always like political comics, but they don't fit. It's just always a giant caricature. It's never really saying a message. It's just a caricature of Trump, him being fat with tiny hands. It never really lands. And it's unappealing. And I think it's not the left can't meme. And so what I think behind the memeing thing is whereas I thought it was just a sense of humor and intelligence, to have a sense of humor, it means you have to be somewhat smart. And I thought maybe it's just a sense of humor, but really the core of a sense of humor is to have under a foundation or an underlining joyfulness behind it. To where if another side of the political spectrum or cultural spectrum comes out and makes a meme of your guy, you just take and go, yeah, we can do better than this, and we're going to have a better time with it. And then it completely deflates any kind of attack. That's what I'm saying. Vance could easily be the next president because all of the memes they could come out with the next 4 years, like that article was saying, or that person in the article saying, they're null and void. They've already gone as far as they can by making him look like a little kid and baby and making fun of him. And the right just was like, that's kind of funny. Well, we can do better. If that continues, if the left is like, how are we gonna what do the midterms look like? Who are we gonna attack in the midterms? If the right wing is like, all right, give us your best shot. And every time they're like, what about DeSantis wearing high heels? And the right's like, we can do better. And DeSantis is, walking around in clown shoes in their lap or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to win the internet game. Guys, I think the meme war is won. The meme war has been won. It's going to continue. They're going to keep trying. But as of right now, the MAGA, the right wing, whatever that is, they've planted a flag. And that flag is fortified as far as the meme war goes. And that thing is pretty solid. Not because it's just there's like 6 creators who are good memers or they're good with social media or leading the charge and everyone's just hitting like and subscribe. It's the multitude of people in the right wing who have just gotten good at making memes and that are happy, that are just genuinely happy and think things are funny, even if it's against their own guy. That's what I'm talking about with the joy thing. It's not that they're just happy because, they're winning or Trump got elected or, these memes are just aimed at one particular direction. It's that they're having fun even when it's aimed at them. It's self-deprecating, but to a level to where it's like, yeah, make fun of me. That's fine. I've seen what you cheer for. Your boos mean nothing. You have no power here. It's Star Wars. You have no power here. They've completely confiscated the entire meme war. And now the right wing just planted the flag, and now they stand there and go, every attack that you have, we'll actually take your arrows, turn them into lightning bolts, and then we'll just have fun with them. We'll just have fun with them. It's wild. It's wild. And again, I think that comes from an underarching idea of joy. I think joy has infiltrated and bled out into this political cultural scene, this right wing, whatever that is, to a point. And again, I'm not saying that everybody in the party is joyful. That's obviously a misnomer. That obviously makes no sense. But it does seem like this side's having fun while the other side is scrambling to try to figure out what that even is, which is completely ironic. Again, I say this completely ironic because Kamala's whole campaign was joy. And I'll repeat this. Their whole thing was about how joyful they were. While the right side, the Trump administration, all that stuff, the MAGA, all that stuff, never even brought up joy except for to make fun of the left. They weren't saying, hey, look at Trump. We're all happy. Look at Trump. We talked about Trump having a good time because he was, even though he got shot at. We were like, how is this guy? This guy looks like he's genuinely at the RNC, looked like he was actually having a good time and he was just shot at. And that's what it's not a title. You didn't have to slap joy on the Trump campaign. You could just look and be like, guys, I think these people are legit having a good time. And you're like, well, how do you prove it? Look at the memes. You can't even look at what they're doing. Look at the content that these people create. Look at Pardon Live. That guy comes on. Doesn't matter what happens that week. It's always a good time. Always making jokes, even if it's making fun of whatever side he's on, which I do all the time. I love making fun of Republicans because they're easy to make fun of, especially when they're doing theater kid stuff. Anyway, here's why. Here's the cherry on top of the meme war. And this was just phenomenal. Oh, did I not upload it? I didn't upload it. Let me see. I thought I did. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can. I wanted to show you this guy real quick. There it is. I thought I had brought this up. This guy, can you guys see that? JD Vance came out in the article. Let me pull it up this way. Oh, that's too big. So JD Vance, after all this memeing, people were like, well, maybe MAGA's having fun with it, but JD Vance definitely is not. He's probably like insulted. These are a direct attacks on him. And then even though the Blaze had an interview Thursday and said, no, JD Vance thinks they're funny. They're like, well, does he really? Well, lo and behold, yesterday, JD Vance, old JD Vance, posted this, and it's a meme of him face over the meme. He gets it, and he's having a good time. And how could you not have a good time with this? How could you? These are hilarious. They're fun. Maybe they're not the funniest thing in the world, but they're clever, and you can tell they're lighthearted. Everybody is laughing. Don't you want to be on the side where everybody's having a good time? I think that is. I think that's the biggest appeal to the MAGA thing. I think when MAGA's having a good time, it's the biggest campaign push. I think it's the thing that wins elections, man. At this point in time, I think it might actually be. I think it might actually be the thing that wins elections. All right, I want to move into something a little bit different. We're sticking on the same topic. But I did want to point this out, and this is one of the reasons why I brought up in the beginning where I was like, I don't even know what we're doing, what exactly where I'm going with this live stream on Sundays, other than the core things. Like having a good time is always going to be on the table, because how do you not have a good time? If you had the choice to have a good time or be, unpleasant, that makes no sense. This week, there was a ton of news stories came out. Trump spoke at the Congress, this joint session or State of the Congress, or what, I don't know what it is. And I was like, I'm not going to cover those early on the week. Everyone did their covering. Everyone covered all the topics. Here's the downside of doing a Sunday night show once a week is all the things that you could talk about have really already been talked about to an extent. If you enjoy podcasts, which I assume you do, because you're, watching this or listening to this, I'm assuming you've already heard these. But I was like, well, this one I do want to talk about because I thought this was pertinent to the topic. Plus, it's just all around awesome. And it really does signify. So at the State of the Union, this was my favorite absolute part. My favorite part, honestly, the whole thing was, Trump had some zingers. Trust me, I wanted to show those. But this wasn't a zinger, and this was still my favorite part. So check out this video. We're gonna watch it, and then we're gonna watch a few more, and we're gonna talk about this.
And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
All right, so I thought, and the reason why I was like, well, I'm going to bring this up again, even though it's pretty much been a week and everyone talked about it, I thought that was one of the coolest, and I'm going to say this as an artist, I'm allowed to use this word, and I don't use it often because it's a very sacred word to me. That was a very beautiful moment. That was just an all-around beautiful moment. And it's hard for me to even, like, I think why it's interesting to me is because, again, was it a political stunt? Maybe, but does that actually matter? Because I think when you look at this and we're going to talk about this because it definitely turned political in the news. Actually, I might be getting ahead of myself. I think it was just a beautiful moment because the person in that moment that it meant the most to was most likely DJ, the kid who became a Secret Service honorary Secret Service agent, and most likely his father. His father, that was probably a giant thing for him. I know if that was me and that was the dad, that would have been a giant moment for me, and for me because it's my kid. And so I thought that was just an all around beautiful scene. Now, the thing that you didn't see, and I'm sure you heard about this, is all the people clapping. So the right side of the aisle, well, reportedly, and again, I didn't see this. The left side, the Democrats, they didn't clap because that was the big news story this week. Where even Trump brought it up. He was like, "I could cure cancer, and you guys wouldn't applaud," which was a great setup at the beginning because they fell right into it. They didn't. The only time they applauded was for when Trump brought up spending a ton of money on Ukraine for people to go die, and they're like, "Yeah, people dying so we can launder money." It's almost as if like they are unaware of the world around them, and I think that might be part of it. And I think this has a lot to do with joy because, again, I think they're all intrinsically inclined: intelligence, joy, apathy, compassion. All of these things kind of run together, and for the entire left side of the political spectrum to see that moment and not clap, like withhold, tells me a few things. It tells me a few things, at least by those political elite. Now, I don't think Democrats at home I don't think Democrats watching that, if they were even watching that at home, were like, "Oh my god, that's disgusting." But that's because I don't think all Democrats are evil. But if you're in Congress and you didn't clap for that, I don't actually think you're evil. I think all the Democrats who sat down are like, "Oh, this kid's got cancer. He just made entire moment for him and his dad." But we're not going to clap. We're definitely not going to applaud for that because that's a win for Trump, and we don't. I don't think these people are evil. I think they're vacant. And what I mean by vacant is lacking all semblance of humanity. Now, they're definitely human. I'm sure there's a soul there somewhere if it hasn't been sucked out yet. But that seems very inhuman to do, kind of psychopathic, to where your priority above all is a political aim and not like participating in an actual moment that's happening. Like you can compartmentalize the situation, the event, that the thing that's occurring right in front of your face, and the first thing you're doing is you shut off and calculate politically how will this run in my head. If I clap, that'll definitely give Trump a win, and my constituents might not like that, so I got to play this. Plus my donors, blah blah, and they're doing all the Zalak Galifianakis equations in their head, like, oh, what should I do here? Instead of actually being in the moment. Now, if you were, and I'm not saying that all the left, I'm sure the Republicans were like, this is a win, this is a great thing, we're going to clap regardless. There's, I'm sure, guys, it's Congress, ton of psychopaths on both sides of the aisle. So don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's a ton of Republicans who are just clapping like seals while in their head they're like, cha-ching, 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 money, money, I'm getting reelected, whatever. They're psychopaths on both sides. Don't mistake my flattery. But if I was on the left side of the aisle, it would have been hard for me to calculate not clapping and applauding. And what makes this worse is we had people come out. This is where I'm talking about getting serious because this actually, guys, this topic, one of the reasons why it happened so early in the weekend, I was like, I'm definitely going to have to talk about this. Even if I don't talk about, I didn't know the JD Vance thing. I wasn't even thinking about talking about joy. But this whole thing, this whole DJ Daniels thing and the media response, like, shook me to a point where I was like, I have fun. I'll go ahead and say it now. We'll watch the next clip. Guys, I'm lighthearted. I have a good time. I'm joyful. And I love making fun of the left because they're easy to make fun of. And I like making fun of the right because it's nice to punch your own side for the most part. And I'm pretty much considered on the right. So it's a good time. It's a good time. I think everybody should have a good time. Right or left doesn't matter. I really just want to point out the truth that things can be funny. Politics are really not that important when it comes to comedy or just lighthearted or joy. It's just not that important. But this was really hard for me to stomach. Like having to wrap my mind around, there's a lot of people in the media and in politics who are vacant, like utterly vacant. And here's one I wanted to point out. This one. This one wasn't as. This is bad. Trust me. And I know you may have seen this clip, so we're going to watch it again. This one threw me off because I was like, this newscaster is aware that there's it's not registering right, because she knows what beauty is. She knows that moment was awe-inspiring and heartfelt, and she can feel it. Like she has an ounce of soul, like her heart, like the Grinch, was slightly bigger, but she was combating like, I want to enjoy. Actually, just watch the clip. We're gonna watch it, and we're gonna talk about it, because it's wild, guys. I didn't know the state of depravity. I didn't know the media, the corporate, the elites, and the left. Their stated. I mean, I knew there was some on the depravity, but I knew like they're chopping genitals off of kids, so obviously they're depraved. But man, it's wild when they do it in front of you, and you're like, is there anything behind the eyes? Like, is there? I'm not talking mind. I'm talking soul, like actual humanity behind it. Anyway, watch this clip. This is what I'm talking about.
I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer.
All right, we're gonna pause it. So that was good. That's what I'm talking about. Like, okay. This newscaster, she's got us. Like, she dropped the veil from it. It's like, that was a beautiful moment. That is awesome. And had she was like, if this was her statement, she's like, and this crystal humanity, then I would have had to sit back on part of the line and been like, yeah, no, yeah, she's normal. She's normal. And for a minute, politics aside, that was a beautiful moment. We don't always have to bring a political flavor to everything, especially something, guys, that moment could be considered a sacred moment in the Trump second administration timeline. Like, that thing seems untouchable. You don't really need to play politics with a kid who has brain cancer, has 13 surgeries, becoming an honorary member of Secret Service. Like that, guys, let's just leave. That's like, let's leave families out of this. Let's leave kids who have brain cancer. Let's leave that out of the political fight. We don't really need to bring that up. We don't really need to turn it political. Like, finally.
But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
All right, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know if I have the words. I don't think I have the mental capacity to wrap my head around how you take that and then turn it. All right, let's put aside the fact that she was like, sure hope he doesn't kill himself, like that thing. Let's shove that aside, because that's evil in itself. Let's bring that up. But she was like, I let myself feel for a moment. And I really was happy for this kid, because that seems like something he really wants. She said, I let myself feel it. For a minute, I had to put politics aside, and I let myself feel for it. But then she brings politics in it. But up to the point where, like, you took a beautiful thing and you brought your dirt and scum and refuse and smeared all over it in your own mind. Like, that's your own. Like, her telling her audience this or having a discussion, I don't know how many people are like, yeah, actually, I feel that same way now that she said that. This was her own doing. Like, this is her soul. Like, she's saying things out loud that I don't know, maybe she doesn't believe it, but that seems so weird. Like, hey, that kid with cancer, he became an honorary, thing. And I really, it was such a beautiful moment. But gosh darn it, friggin' Trump, because of Trump, now I have to make sure I have to publicly hope he doesn't kill himself when he's defending the Capitol. Like, you take something beautiful. It's the left, guys. They can't help it. They see a painting and they want to ruin it because of big oil. They see a beautiful monument. They're like, hey, this thing is a lot of work in there, and it signifies, right? Tear it down because of whatever ideological thing. Again, this is why they can't meme. on top of all the other avenues, no joy, no appreciation for real art. And when I say art, like that DJ Daniels thing, that is a sacred mosaic of a moment. Like it's a beautiful moment. It could be a piece of performance art, except for guys, performance art's garbage already. I don't even like that's me bringing refuge onto that moment. That moment was true and genuine. I appreciate that. Performance art is a mockery and a mimic of those moments right there. And she took that and she just smeared her political refuse all over it and just degraded it. And just degraded it. And here's the thing, you're like, David, I mean, that's a bit of exaggeration. Be the dad. I'm not saying be DJ in that moment watching that. But be the dad. Put yourself in the shoes, which is called empathy. I know the left doesn't have that anymore. But if you're on the left, be the dad in that moment and watch that clip. Because that clip went everywhere. Be the guy you've been next to your son, 13 surgeries, hoping he makes it out, and hopefully he lives long enough to, to see this moment that you just did. Be watching that clip of MSNBC, and you're saying, I sure hope he doesn't kill himself because he seems to be on the right side of the political aisle. That was the point. That's what she just said. She was like, Donald Trump's so evil. I hope he doesn't, off himself like the guys defending the Capitol at J6 when they inevitably insurrect again. Like, that's where she went. Vacant. For a moment, split moment, she's like, I want to feel things, then feel them. And then her soul left her body. Wild. And guys, that wasn't even the worst one. That wasn't even the worst one. I know you guys, I like to tell jokes, but this is mind-blowingly serious. If this is the state of the left, I am extremely worried. Like, what if this is, I'm saying these are news anchors, they're paid to say the thing. They're shills. They're paid shills to read the script, to do the thing. I'm not saying this is every leftist. But if this is the sentiment, like, you know how joy is bleeding through the MAGA part? If this vacancy, like a ghost, is pouring out through the left political aisle, and anybody who has joy seems to be kicked over to the other side, if this is the thing spreading, I don't know how you last. Listen, and this is Rachel Maddow's take, and I'm going to do my best to give her every grain of salt that I can muster. Let's watch this.
For the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising Doge. The Doge cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer.
All right. I'm going to play this clip again, and I shouldn't have played it the first time. When I first heard this, I had to replay it. I was like, no. And I had to replay it, and the thing, guys, I laugh at clowns. Like, that's our big thing on Pardon My Life. People are all clowns. What do you do with clowns? You laugh. I broke that rule. I got viscerally angry at this. Like, it actually hit me to where I was like, this isn't a clown anymore. Like, these aren't clowns. Like, that is soulless rhetoric. And then I was like, well, let me listen to it another time. Maybe I'm missing something on this. Oh, by the way, chat's open. Have not been reading any of your chats. We'll get to them in just a minute. This is soulless rhetoric. And then I was like, okay, so what is she saying? And it's disgusting. Trump took this moment and made it political. Wrong. Automatically, she's wrong. This was sure, politicians do this all the time. But this was a beautiful, because again, she centered this as if this was Trump, and this DJ, his dad, this whole moment with the Secret Service, none of that, they're not really there. Really what this is about, Trump and his messaging. Okay, sure, maybe Trump can be narcissistic. Maybe he's such a narcissist that he was like, that kid with the cancer, let's get him on stage. That'll make me look good. Maybe she's correct about that. Maybe that was a political move on Trump's part. But if your political move, if Trump at his very worst, at his narcissistic, just evil self was like, the thing I'm going to do to win the hearts of Americans is give that cancerous boy Secret Service honorary to make his family happy. That'll really show them. Guys, okay. If that's the evil Donald Trump's doing, do more of it. More of that evil, please. More of that political messaging, please. More of it. And the best part about this, I almost think Rachel Maddow's a MAGA controlled opposition, because the only thing that she just did is made that thing split even more so. Like, I don't know how, if you were a Democrat or on the left, and guys, I have friends who are, I love them, I appreciate them. Most of them are funny and they're joyful, and they struggle with this kind of stuff. And here's my point. If this is the route the left, quote unquote, whatever that is, whatever that thing is, if this is the route they're going to go, to where if Trump does something awesome and it's only for political takes, if they're like, the thing that makes the DJ thing evil is because of Trump, instead of going the evil thing that this is, it's hard to explain. So basically what they did is they took that Trump is evil and he did an evil thing, which made DJ Daniels getting an honorary Secret Service badge, that made that just as evil. That was a part of the evil thing. So it's both disgusting. It's disgusting, is what she said. Instead of going, if the evil thing that Trump just did by trying to take a boy who has cancer and make it a political stunt, the righteous virtue of that moment just made that evil thing Trump doing better. You could have said Trump, that is ashes, but the moment that he was like, pay attention to this kid and the father and the hug, pay attention to that for a hot minute, just for a minute, take the cameras off of Trump, off of me, pay attention to that over there. That just sanctified that evil thing. If Trump is going to do nothing but evil things that look like that, I'm here for it. Let's go. Let's go. But that's the part where I'm talking about, the vacancy, where she couldn't take a moment to leave it alone. Like, this one thing you leave alone. It's sacred. This thing was a moment for the kid and his family. It was a sacred moment. Don't touch that one. And move on to something else. They're vacant. They don't recognize what is actually sacred. There's no empathy. There's no real compassion. It's just politics. Guys, there was no joy ever in the Kamala campaign. It was just messaging. The Trump campaign didn't even have the message. It was just joy. It was just joy. It's friggin' wild. This Rachel Maddow clip, like, I didn't even want to play it on the pod. I viscerally got mad. Like, I was angry. Because I was imagining I was the dad and having to sit through that. Like, she basically just told the dad, hey, you know that thing that Trump just did? He didn't really want it to happen, so it didn't really mean anything. Because really what's important is what Trump wants. Because Trump is the main character in the situation. So the thing that you got and DJ got, the happy moment, it's not real, because Trump just uses it as a political cudgel. So just so DJ and his father and his whole family knows that whole thing, that honorary thing, it doesn't mean anything. And if it does mean something, it's evil, because it was really just Trump's political stunt. It's the cart before the horse, or I don't know what, I don't even know how to describe how, again, vacancy. There's nothing behind there. It's just political calculations. It's wild that someone got to the point where this is where they're at. And if joy is spreading through the MAGA thing the way it is, with they're taking JD Vance memes and making fun of them and having a fun time with them, if this vacancy is the thing that's seeping through whatever political side this is, again, they're on the decline, and I'm happy for it, because this needs to decline. This whole thing, her attitude and the other one, this thing needs to decline rapidly. If this is a party attitude, if this is an ethos on the left side, the Democrat Party, they don't need to be a party anymore. This is despicable. Anyway, I'm tired of looking at her on my screen. Godspeed's been in the chat, and we're going to take a look at the comments. I did not read these. Godspeed, what's up? He says, they recognize their slimy weakness, and that's why they wage war against strength and the family and everything beautiful. Absolutely, Godspeed. Abso-friggin-lutely. And it's friggin' mind-blowing. I can't believe she said that on air. Like, you could have been like, David, I recorded her backstage and on a hot mic, this is what she said. And I'd be like, wow, that's rough, man. But maybe she was like, oh, that was disgusting. I probably should, rewrite this for the segment I'm about to record. gosh, she said it on air and she said it as if you were going to believe it. Or this is the thing that makes me terrified. She said that on MSNBC in assumptions that you, the viewer, would affirm her feelings. That you would be sitting back, eating popcorn, watching MSNBC like, yeah, that's a good point. Trump is disgusting, so that whole thing doesn't meaningless. And the other lady was right too, to be honest. I sure hope that kid doesn't kill himself. Wild. I think I've said so many words that YouTube hates. I'm probably not even on YouTube anymore. No idea if I'm on YouTube. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just got done talking about how the right wing's all full of joy, and I just went on a tirade. But to be honest, every once in a while, you need to, this goes back to like, these people are clowns. What do you do with clowns? You laugh at them. Every once in a while, I take a step back and go, wait, I don't know if that's a clown. Like that wasn't a clown. Like that was a clown move, but there's something else there. And that part, I was like, we need to address that. The left, man, I'm telling you, they don't have a chance, or a Vance. They don't have either one. Guys, one of the things we're running over real quick. So I got two things I want to talk about real quick. I'm going to make them super quick. I got one more video clip I want to watch, but before we do that, just a heads up, I'm wearing my Nelson and Murdoch shirt tonight. Because Daredevil came out the first 2 episodes last week, and I don't know if you know this, I'm a giant Daredevil fan. Quite possibly my favorite Marvel character of all. I like Daredevil back in the Ben Affleck days. That's how much I like Daredevil. And there's a few reasons why his character, on top of him being a Catholic Christian, and that being a huge signifier, like Batman doesn't kill people because he's morally just or something. He makes up some rule in his head where people don't need to die. So Batman just, ties them up, they arrested. Matt Murdock, Daredevil, doesn't kill people because he thinks it's intrinsically immoral and God doesn't want him to. Super cool. Love Daredevil. Probably the most Christian character of all, maybe outside of Nightcrawler. Daredevil's been always one of my favorite. The fact that he's blind and he has he can feel things. I love the fact that he's basically like an archangel, and his moniker is a devil. It's absolutely wonderful. I love the symbolism there. I think it's great. It's really the line of good and evil splits between man. He's a really good allegory for that, his character in general. Again, his character's super deep. Love it. Go watch it. Anyway, the Netflix series was great. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Been really looking forward to this series. And I watched the first 2 episodes coming out. I just want to give you my take on no spoilers, but they did not disappoint. Now on Twitter and in the Marvel nerd sphere, whatever that is, heads up, they are rough episodes. They don't hold back, and I'm happy about that. But they are not this isn't a feel-good story. And it doesn't seem like they're going to do they're not going to pull an Obi-Wan on us. We're like, this is kind of a rough story, but there's a lot of fun times in it. Look at him. Look at little Leia running around, and he's got her under her coat, and they're sneaking past the guards. It doesn't feel like any of that. It feels very much like the original Netflix. It's dark. It's brutal. It's difficult because the first 2 episodes are miserable in a good way. I'll say that. Anyway, it's a great show. Just want to bring that up. Even brought up the art. Probably should have been while I was talking about Daredevil. Have that up there. Anyway, I'm new at this podcasting thing. No, I'm not. Should have done that before. Anyway, go watch Daredevil. Super rad. Last clip. And this is where I was like, guys, I just went on a tirade. I was like, I need to soften this episode up because I want your week to be wonderful. I don't want you to be thinking about Rachel Maddow and the vacancy behind her eyes. And at what point in time did her soul leave her body for her to become that? I don't want you to be thinking about that all week. I thought maybe we would talk about the clown part again. So I found a clip, and quite possibly is my favorite clip of the entire week. And it's a congressman being, guys, truthfully, and I wasn't the only one. When I watched this, I was like, this isn't real. Is this real? And then all the comments were like, is this real? And apparently it is real. It is definitely real. We're going to watch it, and we're just going to have a good time. Check out this whole scene that happened in the halls of Congress or whatever. I don't know.
Congressman, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
Congressman, why should men be in women's sports?
Shorts?
Sports. Why do you think
They should not be in shorts.
Guys, he's all right. So the topper, let's just bring up the topper. It's gotcha journalism. This guy in the motor cart apparently thinks men should be in women's sports. And this journalist was like, well, let me ask him about why he thinks that. The sheer comedy that he's in a motorized cart alone is pretty funny. Now, I'm not making fun. Maybe he can't walk. I don't know this guy. That's not the funny part. I'm not laughing that he can't walk. I'm laughing is because he straight up Austin Powers kind of comedy thing where the only way to get away from, he has no bodyguards to kind of block him, unfortunately. The only way he can kind of avoid the questioning is just by moving around. Awesome. Love it. I love this guy. If I, whatever district, re-elect that guy. I don't care what he stands, whatever he votes for, doesn't matter. This is awesome. We're going to watch this clip again because it's so good. And he goes, well, why don't you want women's guys in women's sports? He's like, women's shorts? He legit says, did you say shorts? He's like, no, sports. He's like, yeah, I definitely don't think men should be in women's shorts. This is why I'd vote for that guy in the chair, because I don't either. I don't think men should be in men. Here's a newsflash. I don't think men should be in men's shorts. I think men's shorts should be illegal. And the only time you should be allowed to wear shorts if you're a man is if you're going swimming. And even then, I'm not sure about it. I think men should swim in pants. You don't know it personally. You'll never see me in shorts unless I'm swimming. And even then, might be pants on. Anyway, we're going to watch this. I'm full screen in it because this is so freaking good. Let's watch it again. Oh, it's just pure gold.
Congressman, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
Congressman, why should men be in women's sports?
Shorts?
Sports. Why do you think
They should not be in shorts.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Congressman?
One more time.
Congressman, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
Congressman, why should men be in women's sports?
Shorts?
Sports. Why do you think
They should not be in shorts.
Oh my god, absolute gold. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Pardon Will Live. It's Sundays, 8:30. You guys know what time we normally start this off. Be back next week. We're going to have a fun time. Hopefully I don't have any more Rachel Maddow clips that make me see red. And we'll have a better time. Maybe more clips like that one we just watched. That is, guys, how is that not a Ryan Long skit? That just, it doesn't seem real. But the fact that it is, vote for that guy. Whatever that guy is in the car. In the cart, vote for him again. Women's shorts, absolutely wonderful. See, that's a clown, and we laugh at clowns. That's absolutely funny. More of that, please. If that was the left Democrat Party, if they were just doing stuff like that, like escaping journalists and motorized carts and sport shorts, yeah, they shouldn't be that. I might become a lefty. I would become a Democrat if they were just like, it's a clown car. We're all just accepting the clown thing. Guys, it might actually get my vote because I love that. I love how ridiculously stupid that is. In true fashion, it shows the colors of what really happens in Washington D.C. If they're not doing something completely, unadulterated evil, they're clowns. You only really get those two. It's evil, just soulless evil, or just goofy clown stuff. I like the goofy clown stuff. We should stick with that. Hopefully the Democrat Party picks up on that part. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you back here next like. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this out. You can hit a retweet or reshare or whatever. I don't care. Do all that stuff. And, of course, don't forget to go to flintlockandfog.com if you want to be a part of this. Again, I'm beta testing this live coming up. The manual's coming out. I think next week is whatever date I have set for it. We're hitting the ground. We're going to be moving. This is going to be a long run. But if you want to beta test, maybe even come on the Pardon Will Live thing, we'll beta test online. You see what that looks like. It's a good time. It's always fun. Obviously, if I'm involved, it's a lot of jokes, a lot of fun times, and all that good jazz. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful week. Stay on the positive note, and don't let that vacancy get you. That vacancy thing is no good. Anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful week. God bless. Yeah.